You are in favor of organizing. You're
Yes,
in favor
yes,
of
I am.
unionization.
Yes.
All right, let's get that clear. And why don't you give some of the reasons why?
There's an argument frequently made that higher ed is an inherently high inflation sort of industry. You can't teach any faster. You don't want to increase course size, or you'll ruin the quality of the education. But there's an important factor. The argument is that nevertheless you have to pay current salaries in order to attract talent. Mm-hmm. So even as the cost of doing business remains sort of static in terms of productivity, wages go up out of necessity.
Okay.
But that ignores the role of the adjunct in higher ed. Mm-hmm. 1970, adjuncts made up something about 20% of the all professors, public and private institutions
mm-hmm.
nationwide. Today it's over 70%.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of the things in terms of the economics of this at AU, I think that's really interesting. Looking at AU's tax information, which is something SEIU has spent a great deal of time doing, in order to get some perspective on this. The idea here was to create a part-time faculty union for adjuncts such as myself. We're not full-time. We teach on a strictly contingent basis. If you combine all the salaries, all the adjuncts at American University, would you be willing to hazard a guess as to what that represents as to the total operating budget of AU as a percentage?
I actually have no idea.
Something on the order of 2%. Mm-hmm. Now, SEIU has organized adjuncts at George Washington University. Mm-hmm. One of the things that they secured there was an across-the-board minimum for faculty, adjunct faculty with terminal degrees, PhDs that is. Mm-hmm. And at GW, that figure is, I believe, $3,900 per course. I make $2,900 per course. Okay. Now, so if such a thing were to come to pass, if they were to replicate that success exactly, first of all, that percentage, I think at GW that represented something on the order of like a 30% increase. That might cause the total adjunct faculty salary to top 2%, perhaps reach somewhere in the vicinity of 2.5% or even 3%. Mm-hmm. But that, I think, constitutes an exceedingly small slice of the budget. Do you know that AU annually these days is running a surplus in excess of $30 million? Mm-hmm. So I have a hard time believing the money's not there to pay a living wage.
Now I want to ask also about the unionizing of adjunct professors. And this is something that's had a lot of controversy at your old school in George Washington.
Yeah, I'm still affiliated with GW. It's a good school, as is this one. Mm-hmm. There was a long, drawn-out battle on this for the GW adjunct faculty members. It actually ended up with an uncertain vote. I think this happened 2 years ago. It seemed almost split. There was a 50-50 split that finally ended up, I think, going to court to try to determine what won here. My point on all of this is that one would seem, why wouldn't adjunct faculty members want to unionize? Well, there are a lot of adjunct faculty members that don't want to unionize. Mm-hmm. I'm one of them. That's all. Full disclosure. I was opposed to it. I'm opposed to it here, if I was asked. Many people think their unions would help them raise their salaries, et cetera, and that could be a valid reason. But those of us that oppose it feel that we do fine without unions helping us to do this, and secondly, we don't like to see our money being used for political contributions to candidates we don't like. Right. And of course, they say they separate it out, but I don't believe it. So that's just my opinion, of course. But there's going to be efforts to do this. It is not easily done, and they're controversial.
Do you think it'll be as drawn out as it was in GW?
Depends on how the adjunct faculty here think about it. Mm-hmm. I would say it would behoove those that are thinking about it to listen to all of the points of view before making up their mind.